My pranams to revered Geetanji Maharaj, the chairperson of this meeting. My Sashtanga pranams to all the elderly monks who have gathered here. My namaskars to all the monastic brothers and also the Matajis of the Sharada Math and all the devotees of the Mother, the children of the Mother who have gathered here. It is my first duty to offer my grateful thanks to the authorities for having given me this opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to place before you all a few of my thoughts on our Holy Mother, to use the Sanskrit word Vak Puja. The subject given is very interesting. Holy Mother, exemplar of practical Vedanta. An exemplar is one who is an ideal person, an example to be emulated by others. It is very interesting to note that the Holy Mother never studied Vedanta, but she not only lived Vedanta, she was the very personification of Vedanta itself. We have a wrong notion that Vedanta is something very difficult to understand and even more difficult to practice. But Swamiji, in one of his lectures entitled Practical Vedanta, has dispelled this notion. Vedanta is not only practical, it is something which has to be practiced in our life if at all we want peace of mind, if at all our life's ambitions in the spiritual sense is to be fulfilled. What does Vedanta say? The famous Chandogya Upanishad puts before us the essence of the Vedantic teachings in a short sentence. Sarvam khalu idam brahma. Whatever we see here, all that is Brahman, Atman Satchit Ananda. We see so many objects in this world with different names and forms and also utilities. Nama may be different, Rupa may be different, Prayojana may be different, but Vastu is one and the same. That is what Vedanta is teaching us. You take the example of steam, water and ice. They are three different forms of one and the same fundamental basic substance which science calls as H2O. In the same way, whatever we see in this world is nothing but Brahman in the truest sense of the term. And for persons who have realized it in the depths of their mystical being, the whole world looks vibrating with pure consciousness. Let me start with a simple example. There was a farmer who was working in the field, and in the evening, just at the time of sunset, he was returning home. He had to go by the narrow village path. One day he saw that a snake was lying there. He was terribly afraid. He went back to the field, brought one or two persons to assist him, a stick and some light. When he came back and saw in the light, he found it was a piece of rope which appeared like a snake. He just laughed at it and went away. The next day he was coming by the same road, same route. The rope was still lying there, And it did appear like a snake that day also, because the illusion of the snake is produced by the semi-darkness, which was not under his control. But his reaction to the situation was entirely different. The previous day he was afraid, the next day he just laughed at it and went away. Similarly, a Brahmajnani's reaction to the various situations in life are entirely different. He knows that what he sees is only an apparent reality. The reality behind it is nothing but or none other than Brahman or God. This is what we see in Holy Mother in a very, very practical sense. At every step and every stage of her life, you find that she reflected this in a very natural way in her own life. The world has two aspects. The Chetana and the Achetana are Jada. The Chetana Vastu is the living beings. Achetana or Jada Vastu is the other non-living beings, non-living objects, material objects. But behind both of them, same Brahman is. Now let us see how Mother reacted towards these two aspects of the universe. The Chetana again can be, Chetana aspect again can be divided into two, the human beings and the animal kingdom. As far as the human beings are concerned, the Mother was mother to everybody, universal mother. Many persons have found in the Holy Mother not only a reflection, but actually their own mothers, perhaps whom they had lost many years back. She declares that there is no difference between Sharat and Amjad. Sharat was a Jivanmukta, Shardanji Maharaj, and Amjad was a robber, a criminal. And yet, in her eyes, both were the same. Both of them shared equally her love and affection. And her consideration, her love, compassion towards the sinners is also very well known. Once a woman came to him, she had strayed from the path of dharma, and Mother took pity upon her and agreed to give her mantra diksha. Her disciples protested against it, but she declared in one simple sentence, Thakur and myself have not come to eat rasagola. They have come to eat the poison, to observe the poison in the minds and hearts of the disciples and make them pure, and if need be, suffer themselves. And we have the famous example of the three persons supposed to be devotees sent by Brahmanji Maharaj to Jairam Bhati. Mother refused to initiate them for 3 days. On the 4th day, ultimately, she agreed and gave initiation. And Premanji Maharaj declared the poison that we could not digest, only the Divine Mother, Mother of the Universe could digest. Somebody asked her once about her attitude towards the monastic disciples. She says, I consider them as Narayana, I also consider them as my own sons. How is it possible? Well, such an attitude is really possible only for the Divine Mother that Sharda Devi was. She gave respect to them because they were wearing the Gerva cloth, they represented the sannyasa ashrama. At the same time, her motherly love and affection transcended all these limits and limitations. And when we come to her love and affection and consideration for the animal kingdom, we have any number of instances in her life. The calf which was suffering from some stomach trouble, throughout the night Mother sat by its side and then rubbed its stomach with some oil, and ultimately the cough became completely all right. The cats and birds in the mother's house, they always shared a lot of her love and affection. She never allowed others to harm them. Then coming to the Jada Vastu, inanimate objects, what was her attitude? Once a brahmachari threw away a basket which had been brought by some devotee, which contained some fruits and vegetables. Mother was not happy with that. She got it back, got it washed, and asked him to keep it somewhere because it can be used for some other purpose. At another time, when vegetable and fruit peelings were about to be thrown away, mother said, "No, we may not be able to eat them, but there are cows and other animals, it will be useful to them," and she kept it for the animals. Nalini, one of her nieces, was sweeping the floor and then threw away the broomstick. Mother was not happy with that. She scolded her, told her, "Even the broomstick has a place in my house," and asked her to keep it gently in a corner. Nivedita had given her a piece of cloth. After some years it was discovered to have become very old and torn. The brahmachari who was serving her wanted to throw it away. Mother said no. She got it mended, and with care, great care, she kept it with herself. Because it was not a piece of cloth, it was the personification of the love and affection and respect of Nivedita towards the mother. So we see how the mother reflected in her own life the highest principle of Vedanta at every step and every stage. And her last message is well known, and that contains the very quintessence of Vedanta. Don't find fault with others. Why? Because there are no others. Whom we consider as others, they are all actually reflections of our own Atman, or the same God who is here, He is in others also. So by finding fault with them, we will be finding fault with ourselves. So once we are able to practice this, the whole world becomes our own. As the Upanishads put it, one who realizes the Atman, in his case, there is no question of disgust, there is no question of hatred, there is no question of enmity at all. In other words, those who have realized the Atman in themselves, in the state of Samadhi, when they are able to open their eyes and look at the world, they are able to see the same Atman in everybody, and that changes their attitude and behavior. And this we find in Holy Mother in the most natural way, because she had practically realized that at the feet of Sri Ramakrishna, and she lived that life every moment of her existence on the face of this earth. So we have gathered here on the final occasion, the closing function, valedictory function of the Mother's 150th anniversary, and all these since yesterday morning, today and tomorrow, our mind will be soaked in the Mother Spirit. The only prayer that we can offer at the feet of the Mother is that let us all become worthy children of the Mother, for which she came, she suffered, and she left. Thank you.